What is the difference between an LLC and a partnership? Hey everyone, Adam Bergman here, tax attorney and founder of IRA Financial. So a lot of people have heard about an LLC, right? If you're starting a business, the LLC is the most popular entity form for new business owners. You probably have also heard of a partnership, right? Generally, when two or more people come together in some form of joint venture, it's generally considered a partnership. And heck, my marriage is a partnership. Not that I control the partnership, but it's a partnership. Two people coming together. So what's the difference? Why do we need LLCs if we have partnerships? Why are people not doing partnerships anymore? Good questions, right? So I'm going to give you the answers. This video not going to have to be too long because you'll see in the next couple minutes why most, I would say close to 95% of all new businesses are LLCs. So an LLC is a type of partnership. Like a partnership, again, I draw triangles for partnerships. So partnership and an LLC, both flow throughs, right? No entity level tax. So with a corporation, again, think of a big box. There's two layers of tax. It's the corporate level tax, which is taxed at 21% now. And then there's the shareholder level, which is taxed at the shareholder level. So if someone makes $100 at a corporation, entity pays 21%, and whatever's left that's dividend up would be subject to the qualified dividend tax, which is two taxes. An LLC and partnership, one tax. The partnership does not pay any tax. The LLC doesn't pay any tax. They're both flow through entities. Good. So that's good. Okay. LLCs, as we know, limited liability company. The first LLC statute was in Wyoming in 1978. By 1979, the IRS accepted and agreed that LLCs should be treated as partnerships. And by the early 80s, every state recognized LLCs. So LLCs, you could say, were born out of the partnership family. This is the main difference between a partnership and the LLC. Pretty simple. When you have a partnership, you need two partners, right? You generally need a limited partner or partners and a general partner. So think of a triangle with two stems, right? One's a GP, general partner. One's a limited partner. Now you can have a million limited partners. In fact, a lot of hedge funds and private equity firms still use the partnership model, even though they don't have to. We'll see, they can do an LLC. GP, the general partner, the one thing is the general partner has general liability, right? So that means there's no limited liability protection for the GP. Now, again, you can always set up an entity as the GP to shield the GP from limited liability protection, which is what hedge funds and private equity funds do. But comparing the partnership to the LLC, the GP has liability. Okay, so if you are the GP of a partnership and you don't have an entity, not sure why you wouldn't, but let's say you just aren't smart enough or don't have a good enough lawyer to get an entity that protects you as a GP, and God forbid there's any issues with the partnership, the LPs, the limited partners are good. They're protected. They have limited liability protection. The GP doesn't. So the GP would be on the hook for all the debts and liabilities of the partnership. Okay, so this model is used again by many, many hedge funds and private equity firms. And we'll see now. Let's go to the LLC. An LLC, again, triangle. There's no need to have a GP or an LP because all the members of the LLC have limited liability protection. So whether it's 1 or 1,000 members, they all have limited liability protection. So yes, the LLC can have a manager that doesn't have to be a member, or it could be a member, but there's still limited liability protection, meaning creditors of an LLC can only attack what's inside of that triangle. They can't get and go after each of the members of the LLC. In the case of a partnership, you can always go after the GP. Now, again, the GPs can just set up an LLC, but why do you even do that, right? Like that's what's happening is you have a partnership model in a lot of these investment funds where you have that triangle, you have the LPs, let's say there's 100 limited partners, investors, and then you have a GP management, and they have an LLC around that GP to protect them. Okay, fine. But why not just do an LLC, right? You have more flexibility. You don't need to bother with the GP. You can just have an LLC where you can have different classes of ownership. You can still have in the management section of the operating agreement You can still have a third party manage it. You can still deal with your carried interest. You don't need a partnership model. So yeah, there's a trend, and some of the old school investment funds still do the partnership framework. There's really no need for it, honestly. There's zero need for a partnership. It is so rare to see anyone set up a partnership over an LLC. When I say rare, I mean it never happens for business owners. Some medical practices, depending on the state, some law firms need to have the partnership model. Accounting firms in some states, architecture firms, but I'm talking business. There's no need to set up a partnership. So if you're watching this and like for some reason you have this like partnership idea in your head, get rid of it. Go LLC, go S Corp, go C Corp. No need to go partnership because you're going to have to find a GP that's going to potentially be on the hook for all the debts and liabilities of the LLC. Yeah, you're going to say, Adam, yeah, you just said you can put an LLC around a GP, so he's protected or she's protected. Yeah, you're right, but why do it? What's the point? Just do the LLC. You get the limited liability protection, pass-through taxation. You have the flexibility. From a tax standpoint, there's no entity level tax. Single member LLCs do not file a special entity tax return to Schedule C on your 1040. If you have multiple members, you file a 1065, also a state partnership return. But again, there's no entity level tax, right? So you have the same benefits of the partnership, but you have unlimited limited liability protection. And you don't have to deal with really an old type of structure that really doesn't have much application today. So there you go. Actually, I could summarize this video in like 20 seconds. If you're choosing between the partnership and the LLC, go LLC. You're not going to win doing the partnership. There's really zero benefits. Same tax advantages. You get more limited liability protection and just more flexibility. So there you go. I'm taking off my lawyer hat and coming back to you as Adam, the IRA guy. I hope you found this video helpful. I know it was fun, and LLC is going to beat the partnership, every time.